Here we go. So I decided to narrate this so you know kind of what's going on. Right now I've got my camera set up in the orange inflatable. Just deciding, do I really want to do this? I have quite a few rescues under my belt, and I've got to say that this is one of the most nervous I've ever been about flipping over in the lake. But here we go. So this rescue is going to use just three pieces of equipment, being a paddle float, a rescue harness, and a something to pump out the water. In this case, I'm using just a gallon milk jug that I cut the bottom out of. So it's best to hook yourself into the kayak, hooking your legs into the kayak to rest on your back while you're putting the paddle float on the paddle. That way it frees up your hands so you can put the paddle float on the paddle. I'm also going to be putting my rescue harness around the other side of the paddle right by the blade. Something that would make this rescue 10 times easier is if I had airbags in the kayak, but I figured not a lot of people will have airbags in their kayak, so I wanted to try this rescue without the airbags. Doing this rescue without airbags, though, means you're going to be pumping out or bilging out a lot of water, so it takes a little bit of extra time. Once you've got the paddle float on the paddle and you've got your paddle harness and you've got your rescue harness on the other side, you can go ahead and right the boat. Again, this would have been so much easier with some airbags in the kayak to displace water, but in this case I just went ahead and lifted and flipped, which dunked my head a little bit in the water. So now I've got the task of emptying out as much water as I possibly can with my jug. I'm going to go ahead and play this real time just so you can see how long it took to get all that water out. And again, there would have been a lot less water if I would have had some airbags in both ends of the boat to displace the water. It would have kept the kayak riding higher as it rotated over and not scooped up so much water. Even though this seems like it's taking a long time to bilge out this water, it is a lot faster than if you were in the middle of the lake and had to swim your kayak back to shore. If I had my choice of either swim back to shore right now, I'm pretty close to shore, so I probably would have just swam it back. But this is just a demonstration if you're out in the middle of the lake. Something that would have made this rescue a lot easier, but I left it in my filming kayak, was a bilge pump. That would have gotten the last bit of water out really well, even though I think that the gallon jug was more efficient at getting out the majority of the water. So once I have all the water bilged out of the kayak that I can get with my jug, I will go ahead and place the paddle back over the seat, hook the rescue harness underneath the kayak and around the paddle shaft on the side that I'm going to be getting up on. This is where I hook my foot in to get myself up onto the kayak. I would like to add that this is not an instructional video on how to do this, but just showing how I did it. I will be putting together an instructional video soon, so you can go out and practice this rescue yourself. So once you get your paddle into position, you can hook your foot into the rescue harness, lifting with your leg and upper body a little bit to get yourself up and over onto the boat. With yourself up on the kayak, be sure to put a little bit of pressure over on the paddle float side to keep you from flipping into the opposite direction. Legs go down by your feet braces. Keep your body low so your center of gravity is down low as you rotate around to sit down into the seat. This is where a bilge pump would really come in handy, because I would have been able to get the remaining water out of the kayak to be able to paddle easier. But again, it was in the camera boat and I didn't want any outside assistance. So a quick paddle back to shore, victory dance, and here we go. All right, so a couple things. I did do the rescue, got myself back to shore, but it wasn't that far. I just used a cutout 1 gallon jug. Let me show you something. The jug actually worked really well. However, this would have been very helpful finishing it off, which is what I'm going to use now instead of getting up onto the shore. But yeah, if I practice that a couple times, it'll only get easier.